So I don't understand why some of us still glorifying dying through police brutality in the streets for a cause that do not benefit us. I just don't understand. And here's the question. Why do you think everybody assumed from the jump that the person who was shot in the street yesterday was a Luo and that he was shot by a Kalenjin police? The first posts were that the police is called somebody Tanui. Why do you think that is? It's saddening to notice that some of us, albeit a small portion, are still confused. They don't know what our political interests are. So here's a syndrome that they may be suffering from, and here's a small story for illustration. After the Vietnam War, some American soldiers found it hard to adapt to the mainstream way of life. Peace confused them. Some missed the anarchy and chaos of war. Some suffered from PTSD. That is what is ailing us. Some of us are like those soldiers. We've been on the streets for the longest. The generation of Raila and Orengo taught us the streets, fighting for a panoply of reforms. And then they passed the baton on to the next generation. And then on to my generation, the millennials. And finally to Gen Z Luos, now being shot in the streets. See, whenever these people call for protests, they are counting on a foolish police tag like the one we saw yesterday to make the mistake that I did, to shoot someone for hell to break loose. So here's the question. When does it end? When does it stop? So here's another anecdote for illustration, and if you heard the song In the Ghetto by Elvis Presley, then you'll understand the point faster. The song speaks of a poor woman who lives in the ghetto. She gives birth to a baby boy, but instead of rejoicing, she cries. Not that she cried. When the boy starts maturing into a man, he realized that he must fend for himself because they are poor, to the point that he bought a gun, stole a car, and tried to rob a bank. He was shot by the police. And as he lay down dying, another poor woman was giving birth to another baby boy. She also cried, implying that both women realize that in the ghetto, they are caught up in a vicious cycle of poverty. And for baby boys, they end up resorting to a life of crime, and eventually, death at the point of a gun. That's a vicious cycle that never ends. So here's the point. There's a generation of Luos who are stuck in a vicious cycle of protests, dying at the point of a gun. It only ends when we keep off the streets. And we must teach the next generation that there's another pathway to finding justice. Peace.